Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Money and Mindset Podcast with your host, Sheryka, Alford, and
Anntricia Bray Smith.
we're here today and we're going to talk about the challenges of being the only one. And what I mean by that is, it's a new year. You have come to the conclusion that, hey, I'm going to take control of my finances. I'm going to get out of debt, change my spending habits, and you are all fired up. But you're the only one that's intentionally working on your financial future in your circle. So basically, we're going to look at the challenges that brings because there are some challenges to that. Let me just tell you. How are you, Ann?
Oh, I'm good. We're talking about the only one in finances, but it's no different when we come to our mindsets, you know, making resolutions or making shifts in the way we think and how we have that outlook on life. It's no different. And it's lonely at the top. Let's just be real. Whether you're on the top end, uh, your mental aspect, or whether you're on top in your finances, it's one and the same. And yes, it is lonely because you're going to have some conversations you don't necessarily want to have because you're over that. You're going to have some financial disagreements of where the money needs to go because you're over that as well. And so there are some challenges. There are some
Yeah.
challenges in our households, in our immediate circles, in our friendships, in our communities. So yeah, I'm all in this. Yeah, challenges.
Yeah, and it gets, I will say it can be kind of tough. Like if you're used to, say, going out with your friends every weekend, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you don't want to join us?" And you try to explain to them, "No, I think I'll pass this weekend. You know, I'm cutting back on the entertainment spending because I'm redirecting the way I spend my money." And so, some people may respond differently to that than you would expect. So I would just say, from my own personal experience, don't expect everyone to congratulate you while you're on your financial journey. Because it's just human nature for us to project our own feelings and our own ways to others. And you may have your headspace set in one way, but if they're not on that same level, then trust and believe you're not going to get the pat on the back that you may expect.
Oh yeah,
So,
I can see that so clear. Delegating money that was in one place and putting it in another, and bringing on new bills, new payments, and things like that. It's always a decision to be made financially. There's always a decision to be made. If you're making those decisions with the old mindset, with the old way of doing things, you're going to find yourself right back in the situation where you started. But if you can shift that mindset first and begin to get in a better mental space, then when you're delegating money from one place to the next, you will be able to make wiser choices and delegate that money and plant that money in places to where maybe it wasn't producing as much for you. Put it in a different place instead of going out and getting new money for new things and new toys and uh, adding on bills, putting you back in a financial roller coaster. So it's time to get off the hamster wheel. I heard somebody say that, talking about the hamster wheel. It's time to get off of that. It's time out for going out getting these new debts, because now all of a sudden you have a little extra money to spend, or maybe you took money from one place. But if you already have money, say, tied up in a subscription that serves you no value for the past 12 months, take that money out of there and plant it in a place to where it's going to produce value to you or for you, whether that's value in your business, whether that's value in your household for some kind of policy set in place that's going to benefit your family. Don't go out grabbing new stuff to drag in and pile on top of the old stuff that you already have that's absolutely serving you no value at all. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Planting money, taking it out of places that I have it that's serving me no value or very little value, and putting it in somewhere else. I can't be afraid to try planting that money somewhere else. But what guides those decisions is my mindset, the research that I've done, the mental space that I'm in, knowing what's valuable to me and what's not. Who cares if it's going to hurt feelings? Who cares if everybody doesn't agree? If you are the one with the mindset in the right place, you have to be the one to guide the decisions that's best for you. Not only you, but for your seeds, your
Right,
children,
right.
your.
And have since you've changed to value spending, so to speak, have you been called cheap or tight or any of those things?
Girl, you can call me anything, but one thing you won't call me is broke, the busted, disgusted, irritated, angry, bitter. Because now, when I need the money, I
You
have
have it.
I have a source to go and get the money that I need. So we're not even having a financial conversation. But what does it look like when you need that same money? Now you're broke, busted, disgusted, feeling sorry for yourself, mad, and trying to figure out how you can go get that money. Well, it's because you misused that resource that you did have.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
am I supposed to uh, forget about everything that I've learned? Am I supposed to forget about where uh, my value lies because you failed to do the work? Or do we teach and do we have that conversation to say, hey, it's not your money, it's your mindset. And once we get that mindset and develop new habits in that mindset, then you're going to be able to make better decisions with your money. I have no voice on, say, let's look at my household. I have no voice on where my husband plants his money. I have no voice on where my grown children plant their money. But what they will not do is come and try to get my money after I've seen that they made poor decisions with where they're planting their money. So it's going to be a challenge on your family dynamics, on those family relationships, because when they misuse, don't you think that they're not watching you? They know you haven't bought new clothes in the past 18 months. They know you haven't went and bought a pair of shoes that cost over $2 in the past 6 months. They know that you're not. They don't have packages coming in the mail every 2 to 3 weeks because you're not spending. They know that,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
so
asked that question because I over the years I have on several occasions been called cheap or frugal and whatever else, and I'm just kind of like, okay,
like I said,
that's fine.
you can call me what you want, but I bet you're gonna do it under your breath. How about that?
Yeah, and
It's that
so
real mindset. That's the real mindset. You're gonna do it under your breath. So you call me what you want, and you probably calling me worse than that when you don't get out of me what you think you ought to get out of me, or what people telling you I should be giving you, and all that. But honey, what you won't call me is broke. Let's just get that straight. Because
right.
even when maybe I don't have the uh, dollar bills right there on hand, they put up somewhere, and they ain't put up uh, for immediate access. It's put up somewhere so that it's growing somewhere. How about that? It's planted somewhere. So how about that? Yeah.
Yes, yes. If you're just joining us for the Money and Mindset podcast, we're discussing the challenges that are associated when you're the only one in your group that's focused on being more intentional with your finances. One thing I will say is if you feel the pressure from those around you questioning your actions and changes that you've made, just stick to your guns. Just stick to your guns and stay focused on why you're doing what you're doing. because as we've discussed in episodes before, it's all about choices and consequences and sacrifices. And I assure you, like Ann was saying, the very people that are making fun of you and giving you the side eye about your changes, about how you manage your money, those would be the first ones, later, uh, coming to you maybe with a handout. So just stick to your guns and remember why you're doing what you're doing. I know for me, another thing that I had to be mindful of, and my husband brought this to my attention, is once you have a passion for something, like once you see the importance of proper money management, not just for you personally, but for, say, your children and those around you, um, try not to be preachy about it, because sometimes our passion can come across as preachy. I, for one, I'm guilty of this. I've been guilty of this before. Um, and it wasn't a situation to where I would come at people like I'm better than them or anything like that. It's just that I had such a passion and I knew the benefit of, hey, if we stop and think about how we're spending our money and make wiser decisions with how we're managing our money, it will benefit us so much more, in the long run. So just accept the fact that not everybody's going to grow at the same rate, and not everyone's interested in your financial journey. That's not to say to not continue on your journey. And of course, if they inquire, share. Do share, because you never know what change that may bring about for them later. So that's just try not to be preachy about it.
There's something that people don't have to worry about from me. I ain't preaching about nothing. Now, I might write about it, I might talk about it, but I'm not asking you about your money, your finances. But if you want a conflict, you can come ask me about mine, because I do get real defensive when it comes to somebody questioning me about mine. So that is just something that don't cross the line there. There are conversations directly that I'm not willing to have when it comes to finances. When you don't control yours, and yet you're going to come question and try in some sense to control mine. So yeah, that's a no-go. So don't go and try that if you're in that situation like me, to where uh, you're responsible for your finances and maybe your kids or your spouse is responsible for theirs, and there's nothing really shared there. Don't go questioning somebody about their finances unless you want your neck chopped off. So I know we don't condone violence, but let me just get it straight right there. You know something, and you gonna come question me about something you done wasted. I'm sitting here watching you. I shared with you guys before. I don't have a conversation when it comes. There's some things that I don't talk about. Money is one of them. Uh, Religion is another, and politics is another. I'm not having those conversations though. So don't come at me directly with those questions. And my mindset is what it is. But I tell you what, there's a beast inside of me that will chop your throat. Do you hear me? So don't do it. Just don't do it. We not having those conversations. I'm watching you. I see how you spend your money. I'm watching you. I see how you got a little extra money and you go and do something that could have waited until you built up a better foundation. I see you going to the store spending $2 and $3 using my credit card on some smokes or something. I see all of this stuff. So, do you think I want to trust you and have a conversation with you about where I'm putting my money? Nah, it just does not work that way. So, yeah, there's going to be challenge. My
Yeah.
biggest challenge is the emotional side of it. Keeping all these emotional frustrations in balance so that it doesn't cause me to do harm to people that are in my close circle, because I am the only one at this point that are trying to make the financial gains and develop the habits. Now there's some in my family that are making changes, but the habits or not rooted and grounded deep enough that they won't go back after making a little progress to pick up those old habits. So it's just not a conversation. We're not having it.
Okay. Aside from the neck chopping, now you used to have conversations with me about money. More like you really weren't trying to hear me, but we used to talk. We used to talk about it.
Yeah, but that was a different conversation. You weren't asking me about my money.
True.
Okay,
True.
so there's a way to present a conversation. So I didn't have to get defensive. You weren't telling me, oh, you make $2,000 a month. What are you doing with that $2,000? Or I need $500. Give me $500 when I just seen you blow $500 on something that, I mean. So there is just a different conversation that goes.
Cut it. Okay. Yeah.
Girl, it's a different conversation. So if I'm having a conversation with someone who shares the mindset that I have and is going in a direction that I desire to go, that's different. That's just like somebody, um, say a business person, and all they want to talk about is death, 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 death. We're not having those conversations. There's nothing I can do about anybody who's dead. There's nothing I can do for anybody who is already dead and passed on. We're not having those. I don't need my mind filled and infiltrated with dead stuff. So we're just not having that conversation. There's nothing dead that's going to benefit my business. There's nothing dead that's going to benefit uh, my emotional well-being. So why would I focus and have conversations about stuff that's dead? And many people financially, they're dead. They're dead. They don't they like the way it smells, they like the way it looks, they like the feeling that they get from having that dead situation. And if they can have that manipulative pity party and have you fall on board with that, and they suck your finances, what do you think that they're going to do? So I don't even want to have, I draw the line. I'm not even having that conversation with you. So you go have that pity party with uh Sue Alley over there in her business, and let her take all her business profits and give it to you and drain. But I'm trying to build an empire over here, and I cannot build that empire with your spending habits. And you're most certainly not getting ready to suck what I'm trying to build. It doesn't even have a deep enough foundation yet. It's probably not even deep enough to hold me up yet, let alone adding more on top of that. So no, no. Get your mindset right. That's what you do. And that's when I can trust you. That's when maybe we can come together and do some collaborating and do some things. How do I know when your mindset right? I know by the habits that you begin to show. I know by the conversations you're having. I know about the environment you're in. I don't ever have to ask. I don't have to hound you. I don't have to um, be that one that that's annoying, and having that annoying come. I don't have to ask you about your money. I'm sitting here looking at you. We're
Yeah,
talking
you
about our
mentioned
close
that.
circles, right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
talking about,
you're right.
so we know the people that are in our circle.
Yeah.
Our friends that you see them on social media going out, uh, partying and going out and hanging out at all these different restaurants and going out and having a good time at all these different theme parks and things like that, on these luxurious trips and things like that. I don't care if they didn't spend but $200 or $300. I don't have that same $200 or $300 to delegate in the places that they're delegating their $200 or $300. My $200 or $300 is going to a place that is planted and that it can grow, and that it's not only going to benefit me, but it's going to benefit my kids for generations to come. So whereas they're spending that $200 or $300 for instant gratification, I may not have that instant gratification uh, in the same sense as they do, but I have a instant gratification in knowing that I'm setting my family up, and in the event that something happens to me, I'm not leaving them in a place to where, oh, they have to think about all that $200 or $300 that I spent on that trip to Vegas, or that I spent uh, going out to eat every other day, so that I can look good and so that I can impress the people on my media pages. It's just not going to happen. So yeah,
Yeah.
we know, we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. If any of our guests out there, send us an email at moneyandmindsetpodcast@gmail.com and let us know what challenges are you facing within your close circles based upon the changes that you've made with your personal finances. So, yeah, I'm just curious to know.
Well,
And
all
so,
I can say is, if you listening, the only challenge you should be facing is staying focused on what your goals are. Don't be drawn back into poor financial habits because it look like they living it up. Because I can guarantee you, anybody you looking at who look like they living it up, when they need $200 or $300, they can't go the same place you go and get that $200 or $300. They're gonna have to scheme. They're gonna have to lay on their back. They're gonna have to manipulate. They're gonna have to pity party. They're gonna have to do whatever it is that they got to do to go find and hustle up on that $200 or $300 that they wasted. So, girlfriend, think about it.
yes. So don't be discouraged. Just stay focused and keep at it. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Money and Mindset podcast with your host, Sheryka Alford. And
And Trisha Bray Smith.
until next time, take care.